I've made it into Disney World. I don't really know what the deal is with bathrooms.
Let me help you, LilyTino. The deal with bathrooms, absolutely anywhere you go, is you stay out of the women's. Thank you and you're welcome.
Florida is really conservative. I don't know what the rules are. Trans women are allowed to be in women's bathrooms, but I'm about to go and use the bathroom because I have to tinkle.
It's not about Florida or how conservative anybody is. It's about the fact that you have no business in the women's bathroom. I would even go so far as to say that you specifically are the exact kind of person that these laws were made for.
Yes, sir.
Cool.
Yes,
Ma'am.
Yeah, ma'am. Sorry, my bad.
Exhibit A. This server just called you sir. Then you corrected him and said it was ma'am. Then he called you sir again. And both times it seemed like a legitimate mistake. And that should tell you how the world views you. Now let's get into it. What's up, everybody? Ty Rivera here, the absolute best LGBTQ comedian in the world. All right, you guys, so we're back with another episode featuring TikTok's biggest victim.
It's like a knife in the heart.
LilyTino, aka Buffalo Grills, aka I had my cake pops removed,
I got my cake pops removed.
aka Pennywise. And today, LilyTino has decided to rage bait all of Disney, and more specifically, bullying women. And the reason that I say this is going to be apparent when we watch the video together. And I know some of you had hit me up in the comments asking me if I heard about the fact that LilyTino was complaining about being misgendered at Disney. We're going to get into that part as well, but that's going to be the fun part of the video, because this first part really is just Lily showing why it is people all across the internet do not respect them, and why it is people all across the internet are constantly reminding them that they are male and that they don't consider them to be a woman. And it's not just because people are so closed off to trans. It really is LilyTino's specific behavior that brings on these responses. But surprisingly enough, and spoiler alert, there is one part that I do agree with LilyTino on. So we'll get into that a little bit later. Oh, by the way, some of you asked me how LA went and my live performances. There were 2 shows that I did. They were both super fun. Thank you to everybody that came out. I got to take some pictures with some of you. I'm going to be performing at Freedom Fest in Palm Springs. That's coming up June 11th. I'll go ahead and put a link for that as soon as I get it. I just accepted, so we'll see when it actually appears on the website, and as soon as I appear on the website, I'll go ahead and share the link. But for now, I don't think they've had time to update it. I'm just letting you guys know, if you're going to be in Palm Springs June 11th, that is where I will be performing. Now let's get into this LilyTino video.
I've made it into Disney World. I don't really know what the deal is with bathrooms. Florida is really conservative. I don't know what the rules are. Trans women are allowed to be in women's bathrooms, but I'm about to go and use the bathroom because I have to tinkle. If I get stopped, I get stopped, I guess, but I'm a woman, so I'm going to use the women's bathroom. And
now this is where I already start to have a problem, because the statement is, I'm a woman, so I'm going to use the women's bathroom. And this to me is where Lily doesn't get that it really is one of the most masculine things you can do, to just decide that you are a woman when you know intellectually that that is not factually correct, but you just decide that you are a woman and you're going to use the bathroom, and actual women are just going to have to deal with it. So in my opinion, you really are bullying actual women into just accepting that there's going to be a male in the women's bathroom and telling them they're just going to have to get over it. And this kind of behavior is why I personally can't respect Lily as even being a trans woman, because it is not a feminine trait at all to just decide that you're gonna bully women by invading women's spaces where you know there's a good chance that they are not going to be comfortable having you, and saying, well, just deal with it.
being in Florida or being in California or wherever isn't going to stop me.
Oh, I don't think it's a surprise to any of us that you'll be disrespectful in absolutely any location you're at, Lily. I don't even know why you're trying to make that seem like that's something that you have to tell us at this point. We know. You really have no shame in your behavior.
So I will report back in a minute once I have hopefully tinkled without issue.
3 minutes later.
That went as well as it could have gone. No one gave me any weird looks. Definitely no one stopped me. I walked in, I found a stall, I peed. I peed standing up, which is something I'm sometimes a little self-conscious about with the sound.
Okay, that's not very ladylike. But let's talk about this. You're a woman using the women's bathroom, but you peed standing up, which is weird because for all of the women that I know, that's not an actual thing. Now, mind you, I have 3 sisters, I have a mother, and I have a lot of female friends. I have never heard any one of them tell me that they decided to pee standing up. So of course you should feel self-conscious peeing standing up in the women's bathroom. But again, this is where I think Lily is really trying to bully women, because Lily knows that women on the stalls on either side may see that there's somebody's feet facing the opposite way and they're standing and peeing, and that will make them feel uncomfortable. So to me, this is Lily really trying to say, I dare you to tell me something about the fact that I am a male using the women's bathroom. Let me know in the comments if I'm just reading too much into it, but that's really the way I see this situation. And if that's not the reason that Lily did it, I would say that Lily is lying just to boost the engagement on this particular post so that people will be outraged. But either way, in my opinion, this is just about disrespecting women and letting them know that when it comes to a certain type of person, they're really not going to accept anything but women having to call security or deal with the police in certain cases, and just have people like Lily pulled out of the bathrooms, which again is going to have a negative effect on actual trans people and not people like LilyTino that I am convinced are simply AGPs and not at all dealing with any kind of actual dysphoria.
Oh, is there someone peeing standing up there? But you know what? I peed standing up and it was fine. And then I washed my hands and I left. And you know what? On my way out from the women's bathroom, I took a quick picture with someone who recognized me and it was lovely. So overall, Disney World in Florida, 10 out of 10 women's bathroom experience for trans women. Would recommend.
I peed standing up and it was fine. Fine for you. And again, lets you know how little Lily cares about the way that actual women feel and what they may go through when they know that there's somebody that's invaded female-only spaces. It really is more of a statement about bullying women than it is anything to do with trans empowerment, even if Lily did consider themselves to be actual trans. And then to say 10 out of 10 and basically let other trans women know that they're welcomed in the women's bathroom at Disney World, to me again is sending a bit of a signal and just saying, hey, let's all disrespect women and just use the bathrooms at these particular places, because if they didn't tell a brick like me anything, then they're certainly not going to tell any of you that may just decide to put on a wig and say that you're a woman. And that's where I think that it does get a bit dangerous, because Lily is basically signaling to other people that are like themselves, which in my opinion would be a fetishist, that the women's bathrooms at Disney World are not a place that they're going to be confronted. Okay, so that was the serious part and the part that really got on my nerves. But now let the fun begin. Because in this same trip, if you haven't already heard, LilyTino ended up being misgendered by a server at one of the restaurants in Disney. And this is the best kind of misgendering. When it's a complete accident, it really is chef's kiss, because they're not doing it to be hateful. They're not doing it to be transphobic. That's really just what they thought. And to me, this is God or the universe's way of leveling things out and just saying, don't really start to feel yourself, LilyTino. Before we go any further, I'm just going to ask that you like, comment, and subscribe. We're trying to see how fast we can get to 100,000 subscribers. We're currently at 81,000. Thank you all very much. When you hit the subscribe button, make sure that you click the bell, select all notifications so that you know every time I upload with somebody else's new ridiculousness. Now let's get into it.
That is fancy looking. Cool.
The bottom is from Thailand.
Yeah, in my experience, the bottom usually is from Thailand. Okay, never mind. That one was just for me. But if you know, you know.
Coconut bread from Thailand.
Yes, sir.
Cool.
Yes,
Oh, ma'am.
Yeah, sorry, my bad.
Okay, if you didn't hear what just went on, the server said, yes, sir. LilyTino said, ma'am. And then the server said, I'm sorry, my bad, sir. And this is where I am on LilyTino's side. And I'm just gonna ask that you hear me out. Because what does a girl have to do? You already had your cake pops removed.
I got my cake pops removed.
You had your facial feminization.
I'm gonna look different.
That doesn't look any different. But nonetheless, she had her facial feminization and she's wearing pink bedazzled Mickey Mouse ears. So in her mind, she is a trans woman. And still, nobody knows that she's actually supposed to be a woman. At this point, she is the Rodney Dangerfield of the trans world.
No respect. I don't get no respect at all.
No matter what she does, the trans is not transing. The woman is not womaning. The facial is not facialing. And the feminization is not feminizationing. I mean, can you imagine how terrible it must feel to walk in feeling like you're giving Minnie and then they immediately clock you as a Mickey? To in your mind be serving Daisy and then they immediately treat you like a Donald. To be feeling beauty and they immediately know you're the Beast. You were going for Ariel and they addressed you as Flounder. I mean, can you imagine how frustrating it would be to walk in feeling like you were giving Ariel and instead they treated you like Flounder? And while you may have wanted to read as Fish, Flounder was a boy.
Flounder, don't be such a guppy.
I mean, I may not be on her side, but I'm kind of on her side because it's gotta feel kind of hopeless at this point. This is where a good friend needs to sit her down and say, ma'am, at some point, you're just gonna have to accept that the woman in you might be a man.
And the middle one is from India. It's the papadom the gingerbread chutney.
Okay.
And the third is from Brazil. It's a cheese bread with the guava sauce.
Thank you. Just like totally sucks the joy out of this bread tower.
Well, hell yeah, that sucked the joy out of your bread tower. You ordered a baguette and got confused for a faggot. I feel you, girl. We just witnessed that little man give you your bread tower 9/11. That server is a bread tower terrorist. But in the words of former President George W. Bush, we cannot let the terrorist win. Or we can just go ahead and get that bread tower for free like you planned to do when you first walked in the restaurant anyway.
Makes me want to immediately like leave. Because I no longer feel like safe here.
Okay, now all kidding aside, this is where I feel like this is really LilyTino's karma. And the reason that I say that is because suddenly LilyTino feels unsafe because she got misgendered. But when LilyTino, as a male, feels comfortable just walking into the women's bathroom and taking away any feeling of comfort or safety that actual women had in that particular space before LilyTino decided to come into it, LilyTino doesn't have a care in the world. But then when it comes to a server misgendering LilyTino, we're all supposed to understand that now they don't feel safe anymore, which I don't know why anybody would feel unsafe about somebody acknowledging a biological reality that we can all just see. I mean, the male genes are very strong in LilyTino, so it would be hard for somebody to honestly address this person as a she and a her, not knowing what LilyTino's situation is. It's even hard for me to refer to LilyTino as the she and the her, and the only reason I put any kind of effort into it is because YouTube won't like it if I do anything otherwise. And also from making the videos on Lily, I know that that's what they claim to be going for, is that they're supposed to be a woman. But to get back to how Lily doesn't care about anybody else's safety or comfort, on the last Disney trip, I don't know if you guys remember it, but that was the one where Lily was talking about having her cake pots removed and the fact that she had plans to have her marshmallow wand changed into a marshmallow tunnel, and there were children around at that time and people were saying that they weren't comfortable with that and they wouldn't be comfortable with their child hearing that. Lily didn't care at all about that. So you know that you're constantly making other people uncomfortable. You know that you're going into spaces that you're not welcomed in, and in your mind all of that is fine and it's just stuff that people have to deal with. But then somebody accidentally misgenders you and now suddenly you're the victim in the situation. So my point is, even though it's an accident, I think this one is definitely deserved. And if you listen to that server clearly doesn't come from the United States. So I wouldn't be surprised if where he's from, people aren't like they are here in the United States, where they will just decide to identify as something other than what they are and then expect everybody else to respect it. Like when it comes to the ladyboys in Thailand specifically, a lot of people refer to ladyboys in feminine pronouns because they actually look like women. But if a person accidentally misgenders a ladyboy, it's not something that's seen as an insult, and it's not something that anybody's going to make a big deal of. So you have this server that sounds like he made a sincere mistake, and LilyTino is flipping out about it like it's the biggest thing in the world, and it just doesn't really add up with the way that LilyTino doesn't respect others. So again, this is just a situation, in my opinion, where LilyTino just wants to get her bread tower for free, which I don't care. Disney makes so much money that I don't care if LilyTino does get that bread tower for free. But what I have a problem with is the fact that I'm sure that this server ended up getting in trouble, which was a big thing that made people not like LilyTino to begin with. Because if you remember LilyTino's original videos, they were her trying to get servers in trouble because they had misgendered her. And here she is doing the same thing again. And this guy working at Disney, while I'm sure he does make decent money working there, I'm sure he can't afford to lose his job. And I'm sure that he's not going to feel good about having to get talked to by the higher ups because of a mistake he made. And I really feel like LilyTino, if they were a good person at all, would just go ahead and swallow that and let that be their own problem and not make it into the rest of the world's problem, and certainly not make it into this server or the manager or Disney's problem at all. You already got one off by getting to use the women's bathroom. Now accept that the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away, and keep it pushing, Lily.
It's like, oh, my guard now has to be up.
You know who else's guard has to be up? The women in the women's bathroom when you decide to use it.
I'm not going to enjoy this bread as much because my guard is up. We should be able to go places and not have to worry.
Not have to worry about what? Not have to worry about a server accidentally acknowledging that you are a male because you look like a male, you sound like a male, nothing about you gives female or woman on any level. Is that what you have to worry about? Is that really a thing? And I know they say Disneyland is the happiest place on earth, and Disney World they say is the most magical place on earth. I think you need to keep scrolling through the theme parks until you find the one that says that it's the most delusional place on earth, because that's the only place anybody's really gonna mistake you for a woman. Now I repeat, complain to a manager so that you can have your bread tower comped, which is what you wanted in the first place, and pack it up, Mary.
I don't think I really want this bread tower, actually. I think I'd rather have the check if that's
Yes,
okay.
ma'am, yeah.
I think that's the training. We're supposed to say friend or just not use gendered language.
Yeah, that was a policy that was instated in 2022 where they were telling the cast members not to use boys and girls or ladies and gentlemen anymore, instead to use things like hey everyone or hey friends. But I don't really think that applied to the servers, and this again is why everybody has gotten tired of the trans community and why trans people have lost certain privileges. It's because nobody really wants to live in that world outside of a very small segment of what calls itself the trans community. Most transsexuals do not have a problem with people using what they call gendered language, so sir and ma'am, he and she. Most people don't mind that, and most of us aren't going to be able to completely retrain our brains to a point where it's going to always coddle trans people or the trans community, because you have to remember that the trans community also encompasses the non-binary. So now not only are you supposed to guess correctly if a person identifies as a he or a she, but you're also supposed to guess correctly if a person identifies as a they and a them. And there's really no way anybody wants to keep track of any of that. So that's why so many people are just saying, fine, I don't care. I'm not going to go out of my way at all to try to accommodate trans people. And especially, once again, I will remind you, when you have people like LilyTino that don't return that same respect by understanding that there are certain spaces that people do not want them in. And if you can't respect something that's as personal and important as that, then why should anybody go out of their way to acknowledge you as something that you're really not.
It's like a pretty big thing that Disney has done. Nothing was wrong with bread. I just don't want it anymore. Just because they apologize doesn't mean she doesn't feel sad or offended. Yeah.
Just because they apologize doesn't mean she doesn't feel sad or offended. Okay, why are we speaking in the third person? And also, I really wish you would stop painting yourself as a victim in these situations, LilyTino. I saw a video you put out once where you said that you weren't concerned with passing. You didn't care about passing. It wasn't your goal to be passing. So, if you don't care about passing, then why do you care about people accidentally misgendering you? Oh, because it's not about any of that. Because it really is about controlling other people and asserting dominance over other people. That's what it's really about. It really has nothing to do at all with feeling a particular way about being misgendered.
Exactly, right? Like, if you've accidentally ever hurt someone and say, I'm so sorry, it was an accident, do you expect them to be like, oh, it was an accident? Of course, no problem whatsoever. All of that hurt is now undone.
Yeah, but I also couldn't imagine somebody getting so upset about a person accidentally acknowledging biological reality. And especially when it seemed like that person really had no idea that you were supposed to be anything other than their eyes and ears had told them that you were.
That's not how it works.
Sorry about what happened.
It's okay. I would love to pay for the drink, please.
No, the drink is on me too, so
You don't. Are you sure?
you're good. Yeah.
Okay.
And there's how you know that, like I said, it was the plan from the very beginning. Because if you notice, LilyTino didn't even let the "you don't have to" get completely out of their mouth before they said, "Are you sure?"
Are you sure?
Because LilyTino didn't want to give that manager a chance to say, sure, you can pay for your drink after all. So that's why LilyTino went in and cut themselves off. And if you notice, the reason I'm referring to that guy as the manager is because that person clearly has a different voice than the server that accidentally misgendered LilyTino. So you know that this got escalated. You know that Lily had to call that person over and let them know that the server referred to them as a male. And then I'm sure it was like, didn't you guys decide not too long ago that there was a policy that you weren't supposed to use gendered language at Disney? And I'm sure that manager had to be like, yes, that is one of our policies, and I'll go ahead and talk to him about that afterwards. You know how it goes in these situations. And LilyTino is just being a Karen just for the sake of being a Karen. That's all it is a flex. And that's why I can't stand this person. That's why I think LilyTino is such a terrible human being. Because this man doesn't need this extra grief in his day, because this manager shouldn't be called over for this trivial of a situation. It really is a nothing burger all the way around, and is nothing that anybody should ever be complaining about.
Thank you very much.
that.
I appreciate it.
That's
Thank you.
Well, that's the end of that clip. And once again, LilyTino gets their way and is able to make people feel like they've done something wrong when these people have done absolutely nothing wrong. And that's why I think that in more and more of these instances, people just need to stop apologizing to people like LilyTino. If you don't look like a woman, then people aren't going to address you as a woman. If everything about you screams male, then you can't get upset when the world acknowledges that you are a male. And nobody should be giving LilyTino anything free at this point. If you order it, you eat it, or you throw it away, or you take it with you in a to-go container, or whatever you do with it, you do with it. But you ordered it. You need to pay for it. You need to pay for your drink as well. Nobody cares about your feelings anymore. And once again, LilyTino proves why the internet cannot stand them and why they do nothing but bad for the trans community, even though they pretend to on some level be some sort of advocate. Anyway, that's where I'm at on it. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. If you want to see my video about the trans community now claiming that trans is natural and deciding to put a trans flag up at Yosemite, click the video on your screen. Other than that, as always, thank you for watching. This has been Ty Rivera, the absolute best LGBTQ comedian in the world.
They bought into his bullshit.